about 4 pound 5 ounce. Not quite 20. 19 3/4. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
Good to see you.
You too.
What's it look like down there?
It's pretty swift.
Yeah.
Pretty tough.
Alright, we've had some snow in the last week, a good bit of rain, and this river's swollen. It's going to be all about pulling in real tight to shore, using a Boca grip, a stakeout pole. I got my Yak Attack park and pole. Maintaining boat position is going to be the key. We want to get stationary and you know, put some large profile baits out there that are really going to get their attention of their lateral line in this what looks like fairly muddy high water. Just missed one. It ran, set the hook on it out there on the current seam where only this weight of finesse jig would hold it. He thumped it and set the hook, drag engaged. It started run up this way, got it to here, and it was just off. Chris and I were discussing the, he just missed one, and I asked him if it had been moving, and he had just popped it and let it settle, and as soon as it settled down, it hit. The one that I missed had been sitting there for a long time, and there's two schools of thought on what kind of presentation you want to have in winter jig or tube fishing or hair jig fishing, and one is to cover a lot of ground, as a lot of people do a lot of the year, which shows your bait to more fish, and the other is to let it sit and absolute just dead stick it. Put it in a place where you know that fish are going to come across it, and let its subtle action of the tube tentacles or the hair or the soft plastic, let it do its job. I fall more into that camp of thinking in terms of setting a trap, letting it sit there, and letting the subtle action of a bait do its job. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I've certainly been out there days where I let it sit forever and ever and ever, and I'm fishing right next to someone who's moving it a lot more and catching a lot more fish, and quite often bigger fish. And I've also been out on days where people move the bait a lot and really aren't catching much, but I'm just slinging them one after another, putting it out there and leaving it alone. And I think the bottom line on it is that you ought to be more rounded and try it both ways, or maybe have one fisherman try it one way and one fisherman try it another. Chris has been moving it a little bit more today, and I've been letting it sit a little bit more, and each of us have a hit, so we don't really know one way or another which way they want it. So at least we're getting bites. We haven't been out long, and we already got 2 bites. So